You are now listening to the audio version of the Saga of the Commodore and the Heirs. Volume 1, The Benefits of Blindness. Episode 1, Welcome to the Mother's Mirth. Chapter 1, Carnivorous Plants and Dead Men's Debts in the Waters of Perelandrea.
Boy, there's plants in them shores that'll eat you hear? Plants!
The cook bellows, bells jiggling as he nods to the nearest porthole in the shoreline beyond its grimy glass.
Hey, Max, what would a palpaline plant want with me? I don't even eat vegetables. I avoid them religiously. And they're telling me the contract pays 14 shares per man just for grub humping.
Stokely Fruthian replies with a shrug of his narrow shoulders, as if the truth were self-evident.
Dead men spend no gold. The same goes for dead cabin boys owing me 50 sister pieces.
Tides of undulating flesh ripple down Avox's arm and torso as he waves his meat mallet through the air.
Hey, Max, I know you heard about the jumping bilderbug futures. They were up to 300 a share when we left Prato. Those are the same shares I'll be getting paid in.
Interrupting Stokely's prognostication into his future fortune in termite larvae, the scurrying of bare feet somewhere in the darkness snaps him back to reality as a gaggle of the ship's underfed oarsmen swarm into the galley, fresh from their quarters adjacent to the poop deck. Stokely casts about for an exit, but the flood of filthy man-flesh surrounds him completely. Swaying lanterns flash pendulum glares in the whites of their eyes, a swarm of parasitic fireflies blinking in the blackness. Avox steps in close and looms over the boy. His breath sings a song of half-digested fish and pickled pig's feet.
Hey, Max, you heard about the Balerian brothers, right? They made thousands off their dead daddy stock the week we left. I was with the captain at the auction house when they sold. They made 10,000 apiece.
I don't care what those three twats were paid, but you know what number I do care about?
But hey, Max, think of it.
I'm doing you a favor, kid. Trust me, you wouldn't last 2 days for one of them drinker spiders splayed your spindly little legs apart like a wishbone and drained you dry from your inner thigh.
A shimmer shoots through Stokely's torso as he considers the prospect.
And if it wasn't a drinker, boy, you better believe it'd be something worse. Oh, I can see it now. It's a zombie wasp, and she's taking y'all comatose to her lair so she can hold you prone and squirt you full of larvae. You'll be a living meal for her young. I hear zombies prefer virgin sacrifices, so I bet they love you.
Avox violates his free hand, which he holds in a sphincter-like closed circle with the handle of his mallet, as if he's churning the world's least edible imaginary butter.
Hey, Max, what are you doing there with your hands?
Stokely asks, in spite of all common sense compelling against the query.
Oh, would you like to know? Well, this is you on the ground getting buggered by the bug.
Avox nods to his fists, which he thrusts in the boy's face.
And this is the bug, buggering you into oblivion.
Avox chuckles, completing his insect insemination demonstration by twirling his mallet between plump fingers and pumping it in and out of his fist repeatedly.
5,000 pieces of 7 for one season's grub hauling, Avox. That's what folks where I come from call generational wealth.
Is that so? Well, we may not have fancy concepts like generational wealth in the gutters of Malarsac, but if you step foot somewhere knowing a man-eating plants are the least of his dangers, you're what we call generationally stupid.
Avox inspires 3 of the underfed oarsmen into action. 2 of them lift Stokely with surprising strength, while the third clamps his legs in irons.
Avox, come on! It ain't like I'm working with a crew of aphid dancers. It's the safest job on the island.
Listen to him, boys. It's the safest job on the island. You ain't the first to run up a dead on-board ship gambling dice and then think he could pay it all off by striking a rich after a season on the island. let me be the first to tell you, boy, it rarely works out, especially when you try squirting off without giving us so much as a buy or leave. I mean, what am I to think as the holder of said debt?
You're right, Avox. I should have come and talked to you first. I'm sorry. But listen to this. After the contract pays out, I'll settle up and pay you triple what I owe. I know you're too smart to turn that down.
Dead don't pay debts, kid, unless death is the debt. You plan on taking care of your gambling obligations for beyond the grave?
Absorbing Stokely in his moist and blubbery vastness, Avox wraps his flipper-like right arm around the boy while motioning the other towards a familiar limp-legged shuffle scraping its way through the darkness.
Oh, that's right, boys. Come on over here with him.
Oh, gods, please tell me that's not who I think it is.
Stokely mutters to himself.
Molly, say hello to Stokely. Y'all gonna get to know each other for the next little while.
Avox introduces the pair with a jowl-spanning smile, revealing a set of broken, blackened teeth.
Hey.
Molly offers up a cheerful salutation along with a wave from his right arm across a naked, baby bird-like upper carriage.
Hi. Hi there. Hi.
He repeats himself, as if Stokely might have somehow failed to notice him the first time.
Avox, you can't be serious. They flogged this pervert 3 times already, on this cruise alone. Do you know why he was in prison when the company bought his sentence and chained him to that oar?
Of course I do. Who do you think negotiated the price?
More chuckles ascend from the darkness, along with a steady thumping which builds like an excited dog's hind legs slapping the floor when rubbed in its special spot. Stokely tries to prevent his fearful eyes from peeking, but the urge to know overwhelms his better sense.
Oh no, he hasn't started already, has he?
Consider it part of your punishment, then. Since you've proven I can't trust you as far as I can throw you, Molly here's gonna keep you company till we set sail again and make sure you don't slurk off in one of them longboats while I ain't looking. That way, when we get back to Prato, I can sell you your little ass at open auction. How's that for profit?
The entire mob howls in laughter, except for Molly.
But the captain needs me. Who else is gonna write her logs or read them back to her? She can't even read her own writing anymore, and nobody can.
Oh, the captain won't mind at all. I'm cutting her in. Oh, what do you think? Just 'cause you can scribble a little fancy in them little log books, the captain won't trade your ass at the first port for the right price? Huh, maybe if you'd have filed the bunions off her toes and massaged her feet every night like I told you, things would be different, but no, couldn't be bothered, could you?
You don't think that's a little excessive, Avox?
Well, part of the problem with not making yourself irreplaceable, kid, is you can be replaced. We'll just find another cabin boy fresh off the docks. There's always hundreds of y'all just begging for a spot.
Avox carves an oval in the air with his mallet and jabs it at Stokely again as he continues.
Now, the truth is, what I ought to do is snap off a few of your fingers as a lesson. Maybe break an arm to prove my point. I've certainly done it before, but you're lucky. I like you. So I decided to get creative. Besides, it's not like I'm attaching you to his right hand.
Avox chortles at his own joke with enough enthusiasm that he's forced to bend over and catch his breath to prevent from choking. Judging by the smile on his face, this detracts little from his immense pleasure. Amidst their own appreciation of the cook's humor, the oarsmen hyena with garish glee. Knob knuckles vibrate like hummingbirds on the ends of their fingers as they point, and then their chant begins.
Stokely, 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 Stokely.
Their chant continues for several repeating patterns before fizzling out into high-pitched cackles and distended belly laughs.
Oh, very funny.
Stokely mutters, trying to ignore the stone eggs growing in his empty stomach.
Don't be worried. we go, me friends.
Molly consoles Stokely with a toothless grin. His jaundiced eyes twinkle and his scalp twitches as 16 strands of scapula-length hair vibrate in anticipation. And Stokely's spine cringes as if responding to the presence of an unwanted finger in an unwelcome place.
See, you guys are gonna get along great.
Avox slides a moist palm along the boy's shoulder. More of his musk greases into Stokely's sinuses as he coils the lad in close. His choleric cloud of abscessed teeth and poor dietary choices stimulates a tremble in Stokely's lower intestine.
Molly and I already had a little chat, and he knows what'll happen to him if you slip the chain, so I wouldn't test him. Hell, he may be scrawny, but he's vicious. Ahem!
A strange cough emerges from the far doorway just outside lantern range. Stillness drops like a wet, untethered curtain over the previously riotous scene.
Can I help you?
Avox asks, squinting the entirety of his mole-like face in the apparent hopes of wrenching some microscopic increase in visibility from his semi-vestigial eyes. Ducking under the doorframe on her way inside, the tallest woman Stokely has ever seen stalks across the dish-stack alley, trailed by 5 child-sized individuals only an idiot would mistake for children. All 6 sport numerous blades in various places and wear a set of silk scarves wrapped around their heads. Only slivers of space expose the world to each of their furious, glistening eyes. Bare feet scrape across the galley floor as the oarsmen depart, allowing the newcomers to form a semicircle, pinning Avox to the back corner without saying a word or laying a hand upon him.
What can I do for you?
Avox stammers at the giant woman as if she's returned, dragging the reanimated corpse of his long-banished childhood stutter. Mercifully ending his puttering, she whips her right arm out like a stiletto aimed at his gullet. Hand raised, forming a right angle with her forearm and rocking side to side until satisfied of his silence, she points down.
Ahem! Ahem!
One of the child-sized figures steps forward and presents an engraved half-meter ivory baton. Their free hand snatches down the lower half of their head wrap, exposing several rows of sharp, tattooed teeth, granting the diminutive speaker a shark-like aspect.
We require Stokely Ferothian!
They yell, waving the ivory baton a hair's breadth under the cook's jowls.
What does he want with Stokely? He's just a cabin boy. Above your pay grade! Is this he?
The baton whips at Stokely, and their eyes flicker in his direction for a fraction of a second.
Okay, if the man wants him, he can have him, of course. Let me just find the keys!
In the middle of his groveling, Avox slips and falls on one of the many pots and pans he had failed to properly stow.
Avox, I did warn you about those yesterday.
Stokely recalls, attempting to stifle a chuckle. The cook's arms and legs flail out in every direction from the floor as he tries in vain to roll off his back, reminding Stokely of a shockingly obese snapping turtle.
You know, I said I'd never do anything against the man. I mean, the Commodore.
Avox putters as he rolls to his feet.
Help me, in my tummy, help me, in my tummy.
Molly mumbles, both hands down his pants, though stationary as a cat before pouncing. In spite of the leering pederast in their midst, only Stokely takes any notice until, unable to control himself any longer, Molly removes his left hand from his breeches.
Hey there. Hey there.
Molly extends a gnarled finger to stroke one of the little newcomers on what he must have incorrectly presumed to be the exposed nape of their naked neck. Molly's blood-curdling scream instantly accompanies the snapping, popping, and grinding of his calcium-deprived finger bones and joints. Pinning him face down to the deck with his boot, the erstwhile object of Molly's affection unsheathes a black-bladed dagger and severs the offending digit in 3 precise movements. Raising the trophy in exultation, the Nutchild places the bloody finger in a leather pouch kept round their waist. As if inspired by the demonstration, Avox wisely produces the keys forthwith and removes Stokely's irons, allowing Molly's scurrying departure to his natural habitat in the vessel's nether regions. Moments later, the baton wielder's right palm snakes in the air with index and pinky fingers extended, addressing the woman before instructing the other 3 in a fist which bobs from side to side, fingers flicking in a semi-repeating pattern. Turning back to Stokely, the leader points behind the new owner of Molly's index finger, giving the boy a brisk look. Stokely replies with several nods, and with that, they commence their ascent up through the bowels of the Happy Hunter. Climbing several flights of narrow stairs and ladders, they arrive on the vessel's crowded main deck. Of the few dozen bawdy mariners they pass, not a single pair of eyes glance in their direction for more than a moment. All Stokely can discern from their muted whispers is the unmistakable sound of his own name, and 2 words repeated several times. The Commodore.